Avery Kruk has more than 25 years in the trenches working on political campaigns for candidates and social issues. Avery comes to Provocation Hall with a voice of experience, reason, and determination. Having heard it all before and never one to shy away from a good fight, Avery will challenge both sides. He's worked for some of the best in the business, cutting his teeth under the tutelage of the infamous Dick Morris. Avery promises us that when this show launches next week, he will not let anyone off the hook. He has worked for Senator John Edwards in his vice presidential bid in 2004, General Wesley Clark's campaign for president. He worked for President William Jefferson Clinton, Senator Boxer of California, former Senator Bradley of New Jersey, one of my favorites, and Paul Tsongas, former senator of Massachusetts. And our second hostess of Provocation Hall is Amanda Crumley. Amanda has a 15-year track record of success in media communications and public relations, reaching across the political, entertainment, and corporate landscapes. She is a longtime political advisor. She has devised communication strategies and advised candidates and developed direct mail and media campaigns in winning campaigns across the country. She is the founder of her own public relations firm in Los Angeles, where she has directed media strategy and public relations, devised communication strategies, executed large-scale nationwide PR events. I mean, if I read this whole shtick, we'll never get to talk to Amanda. I will tell you that she is a veteran of 3 presidential and numerous local and statewide campaigns. She spent 4 years in the Clinton White House. I wonder if she was there in the end when they tore the White House up on the way out. I don't know, Amanda. You got to tell us about that. Anyways, I want to welcome both Avery and Amanda to the show. Welcome to News Talk Online on Paltalk.com.
Thank you, Gary.
Hello. Good to be here.
So tell us a little bit about what Provocation Hall will mean to the listeners and viewers of Paltalk.
Well, Avery, I'll start off if you don't mind. First off, Gary, thanks for having us. I'm going to have to come on the show more often because it's a good ego boost. But I would say I was probably more of a munchkin on these campaigns instead of the actual wizard behind the green curtain, but thanks for the props there. What we hope to do with Provocation Hall is engage the current Paltalk membership and reach out to, as you were discussing earlier, new audiences and get them engaged and talking about, in a very unique format, various social, political, and hot-button news issues of the day. Everything ranging from, obviously, with 2008 presidential elections upcoming, issues like global warming and the environment, healthcare, education, choice. You name the issue, we're going to try to bring on guests that can be engaging. We hope to have a format that is going to be point-counterpoint. This, even though Avery and I both come largely from Democratic backgrounds, we don't come to this program with a particular point of view. We're here to moderate and engage and bring the guest out to do the talking and allow the Paltalk members to have an interactive dialogue with everyone from political professionals to newsmakers, authors, writers, journalists, filmmakers, politicians, etc.
No, wait a minute. Did I hear you mention issues?
Issues, actual issues.
Well, but wait a minute. The campaigns are not about issues. The campaigns are about does Fred Thompson fall asleep in the middle of briefings? The campaigns are about whether people believe in evolution or not. Listen to these debates. The debates don't discuss the issues.
Well, clearly, the debates have never discussed the issues because the debates are all about coming up with that wonderful soundbite, possibly 1 or 2 sound bites that will make a candidate appear to be smart and erudite. But you know what, Provocation Hall? It's our town hall. It's not NBC's town hall. It's not ABC's town hall. And it's certainly not going to be Fox News' town hall. It's our town hall, the way we want it. An open dialogue with all of our political and social leaders. Together, it's about us getting to ask the tough questions, and most importantly, we get to demand honest answers. And if someone who comes on, whether it's a candidate or someone who's involved in any kind of issue, is not giving us the honest answer, our Paltalk members are going to get on their computers and let us know, and we'll let that person know that they need to rethink their answer. They've got to come up with the real answer to the question, not saying, well, I'll get to that question in a moment, but first, for the next 2.5 minutes, I'm going to talk about something else. And that's what the candidates do, and that's what's often sometimes people come to talk about issues do, is they try to skirt the issues. So prepared speeches, no. Questions, absolutely not. Canned answers, you're going to get crucified on Provocation Hall if you've got a canned answer. That's our town hall.
Now, you guys both come from Democratic backgrounds. I am not a partisan myself. I happen to be one who's non-ideological, and some days I may actually support the president. It's happened once or twice. Many days I won't. Some days I'll support the Democrats. Many days I don't. Let me tell you something that I found extremely disconcerting, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong about this. We were all, the news media were all speculating about what General Petraeus was going to say when he addressed Congress about the troop surge in Iraq. And everybody knew that he was going to say, stay the course. Keep the surge going. We all knew that that's what he was going to say. And so in anticipation of him saying that, all the Democrats, Nancy Pelosi and her legions, and I know they all get together and they decide ahead of time, this is, these are the sound bites that have to come out of your mouths, and they all walk to the, both parties do this, they all march to the same freaking drum. They all criticized what Petraeus was about to say before he said it. And then lo and behold, that's not what he said. He said, we're going to bring the 30,000 additional troops home, which really was pulling the carpet from under the feet of the Democrats. Why couldn't they have at least pretended to be statesmanlike, said when people like I asked them, what do you think about Petraeus coming before you next week? Well, Gary, not that any of them were on my show, but, whoever's show they happen to be on, well, Gary, why are you asking me this now? I don't know what he's going to say. I want to listen to what he has to say. This is a very important issue. I believe the troops ought to come home, but we don't know what Petraeus is going to say. He's the top military man over there, and first we're going to hear what he has to say, and we're going to give it due diligence, and then we're going to respond to it.
Well, Gary, a couple of things first. I mean, one thing that, and I'm not trying to avoid the question here, I think, I just got back into the country last night, so I don't want to get too much into the Petraeus report because I've personally not had time to look at what he said and all the back and forth between the Democrats and the Republicans. I will say this. Provocation Hall is all about the Paltalk members, not mine and Avery's point of view, not our waxing on about this issue or that issue. We're there as moderators and hosts, and the important thing is that this is a very unique, very exciting online forum for existing and future Paltalk members. And what we hope to do, aside from having just political people on, and this is not going to be a show that's centered solely around the 2008 elections, because, as you said earlier, sometimes in these elections it's all more about style than it is substance, in large part. And what we hope to do is reach out to a host of very, very interesting guests across the gamut, guests that can come on and talk about the war and, again, these other issues that have something interesting to say, but more important for the Paltalk members to have an outlet to have their voices heard. So it's much less about my voice or Avery's voice. We're there to moderate the discussion and keep things moving. But absolutely, the Petraeus report is a subject that I definitely hope to talk about on Provocation Hall, and more important, to hear from Paltalk members what they think and what they want their political leaders to know.
Oh, okay, but Amanda, I don't mean to put you on the spot.